You would think that after years of hard work and sacrifice, that you will reward yourself with something nice. So why not treat yourself to a beautiful Lamborghini Urus and take it on a beautiful vacation in Florida? But what if I told you that buying a Lamborghini can make that once in a lifetime situation turn into a literal nightmare that can leave you with more than just a flashy ride? It can also leave you with a criminal charge. It can leave you with an impounded vehicle and a financial web of lies and deceit. But not because you did anything wrong, but because the OpenRoad Northwest dealership in Bellevue, Washington failed to do its job. Some over 41,000 friends and the 65% of you guys will keep watching me but not yet subscribe. Let me tell you about a story about a customer who purchased a 2024 Lamborghini Urus S on December 6, 2024 for $288,000. Whew, that's a lot of money for a lot of problems. But as a business vehicle, he did that and it's eligible, under the IRS section, 179 and all that nonsense, and he uses it accordingly. But over the next several months, however, the customer had to keep constantly following up with the dealership to remind them to handle the title paperwork, which legally need to be done within 45 days in the state of Washington. Now, that never happened. In January 2025, an unrelated situation with an NFL player went through a similar situation with this dealership, and it brought the customer back into contact with the dealership. Now, during this discussion, however, the customer told the dealership to take the car back if they weren't going to finish the paperwork and get it done. Now, the dealership responded back by saying that, oh, well, we submitted the title paperwork to the Oregon DMV, but it had been rejected due to a missing VIN inspection, which doesn't make any sense because the Oregon DMV later confirmed that they'd never received any submission from the dealership, period, and had never sent out any rejection or any missing item notice. And in short, that just basically means the dealership not only failed to complete the actual registration, they misrepresented the entire situation to cover themselves. And if you don't believe me, you don't believe a third-rate YouTuber, then you can listen to DMV themselves right here.
If we were missing anything, we issue missing requirement letters to the owner,
right,
and to the dealer, typically,
right,
or the lender. I don't show record of anything ever received. That's at the end of the day. Yes, we've never received anything from the dealer. So whatever's going on with this dealer, I'm assuming, is it a Florida dealer?
No, it's a Washington dealer. It's Lamborghini Seattle.
Okay. So if it's a Washington dealer, then they would have a way to track what was sent. At least, even if it was returned, they would have a way to track it because we would never return anything without a letter to them. But I don't show we ever issued a letter.
And then on March 7th of this year, after months of going through this nonsense with this dealership, things went from frustrating to outright disastrous. Now, the customer was on vacation in Miami and was pulled over for a basic traffic stop for just simply tinted windows. The officer was checking the vehicle's plates and discovered that the Urus had never been registered at all, period, and the tags were invalid. Both things that the dealership failed to do in this situation. The result, the customer was temporarily arrested and charged criminally. And since the vehicle was unregistered on public roads, the vehicle was later impounded by the Florida Highway Patrol, which led to the customer having no vehicle to drive while remaining on vacation thousands of miles away from home, and no vehicle that he paid almost $300,000 for. And he had to leave it in another state because he didn't live in Florida. And pile on that he had to have an attorney now represent him in Florida to try to get this situation resolved by a dealership on the other side of the country. And just a reminder of all this nonsense going on, this happened just because the dealership didn't file basic paperwork that they had to do on every single sale. This happening maybe to maybe a volume dealer, you might understand. Someone is selling dozens of vehicles a day and one might slip through the cracks. But how many Lamborghinis are a dealership selling in United States on a daily basis or sold per month? I mean, especially in a bad economy, right? I asked AI to give me a actual, maybe a kind of idea of how many Lamborghinis are sold at a dealership. and it says that maybe 10 are sold in an entire month. So how do you not have time in literally a quarter to not do paperwork? I'm just saying. But not only did the dealership violate state laws, which is supposed to be, doing this paperwork within 45 days, but they also violated federal financing regulations. I mean, most of the lenders require a proof of title submission within 60 days. And then in this case, the bank also never received a title, putting the entire financial agreement at risk and exposing the buyer to both financial, legal, and other, criminal harm. So after the arrest, the dealership basically told the customer on March 19th that they sent him a check to cover any damages that had been a result to their negligence. And last time I checked, kids have got nothing. Then on March 31st, the managing partner of the store offered to get a customer $10,000 to make things right. But the offer, to me, honestly, does not come close to resolving the situation, because you got to think about it. Now the customer has legal exposure, because now he has to have a lawyer in Florida to take care of the criminal charge in Florida. Then he probably has to have a lawyer in Washington to sue the dealership for the nonsense that they did. Then he has damage to his reputation. Then he has a stress placed on him for getting his car seized from him in another state across the country with his family with him on vacation. Luckily, it wasn't in a car with him when the situation happened, but you can imagine coming back from, hey, honey, the cops took my car, and the dealership that I've been pissed off at for months, they still have not put the actual title work in for this car. And now we got to go back home without a car to drive. So I'm just saying 10 grand doesn't seem like it's a lot of money to fix this situation. And then you can just look at the laundry list of items the dealership clearly violated, and then add the fact that the multiple times, like I said, the customer had tried to get this OpenRoad dealership in Washington to take care of the situation, which they did nothing in 4 months. December, January, February, March, 4 months, did nothing, no title work. How many Lamborghinis did they sell from December to March to take care of this? I'm just saying, the customer had to leave an almost $300,000 vehicle in another state, especially in an impound lot, and he's facing legal charges in a state that can give him 60 days in jail because of their BS from the OpenRoad Northwest dealership. You would think that with this kind of situation that maybe Lamborghini corporate or Volkswagen would step in and take care of this whole situation. But this is something that dealership calls, and for so far, what I've heard, they've done zero, nada. I seem to recall Tim Kuniskis, the CEO of Dodge that I poke fun at from here and there. He literally personally assured me and a soldier whose Demon 170 was sold right around Christmas that regardless of what the crap happens with that dealership, that Dodge would take care of the customer. And at the end of the day, the dealership didn't come through, and the soldier got a one-on-one car that no one else in the world has. For Lamborghini, I guess when they mess up, you aren't going to get taken care of. You're going to basically get a criminal charge. And I guess that's what this be expected from a company that got caught up with the whole Dieselgate scandal. I guess it's just par for course, but I'm just saying. But at this point, weeks have passed since this Urus was impounded in Florida. Like I said, this happened on March 7th. And now here we go. I'm making this video on, April 13th. So you have a little over 5 weeks later. Now, OpenRoad Northwest, they actually went to Florida to get the vehicle out of the impound lot and then shipped it back to the country, back to their dealership in Washington. OpenRoad Northwest Lamborghini, McLaren, Rolls-Royce dealership, they got like a long name. They made a new offer to take care of the situation with the customer. The dealership claimed that they could make things right again by offering the customer a rare Lamborghini Huracan Spider. Now, I'm assuming they took several $1,000s off of the cost of the car, but you'll see how they tried to make up for that deal to actually get the money back. But on April 2nd, the customer noticed that when they tried to do the actual finance and paperwork, that some of the financial numbers kind of raised his eyebrows immediately. Like, why in the world is my interest rate 9.59%, which doesn't make a lot of sense if I have, excellent business credit. Now, when the customer contacted Chase Bank, he was told that the dealership told them that this deal was a trade-in deal with the old Urus. So that basically means that instead of the dealership trying to actually buy back the actual Urus from the customer to satisfy any debts that he had basically did with the actual vehicle, instead they're going to use the Urus as a trade-in so they had to pay the customer back none of the money he already spent on that vehicle. They were going to try to get themselves out of the situation by doing the trade-in, and I'm just wondering, are they just trying to either scam, chase, or the customer? What happened to all the money that the customer paid on this vehicle? Are they going to try to basically, devalue the cost of the car or whatever? Now, I haven't seen the actual bank numbers, but I'm very suspicious about what this whole situation is. I'm just saying. But this led to another week of BS from this OpenRoad Northwest Lamborghini dealership. And then that's when my dear friend TK's Garage, he made this video right here exposing the whole situation. And then all of a sudden, the same day this video goes live and get, a bunch of views, now all of a sudden the dealership wants to get the ball rolling again and get the deal done. Probably because word around the campfire is that the Lamborghini CEO is breathing down their necks from TK's Garage's video. So TK took this video down at the request of the customer since they were going to show good faith and actually get the deal done this time. And then magically, all of a sudden, the high interest rate, remember I told you like 9%, that rate got changed down to 6% because the dealership's going to actually, they're going to actually, show good faith and drop their markup on the loan. Which, you know what, I would think that with all the situations going on, if you allow my vehicle to get impounded and almost get me a criminal charge, it can get me 60 days in jail, I think the least you can do is not mark up the loan. I'm just saying. But those extra percentage points on that loan, they basically did that so they can take the money back that they actually took off of the Huracan, right? They took the money off Huracan and then they're going to give the customer $10,000 that I said earlier for the situation. So that money basically would have came back over the course of the loan, basically through finance charges. So basically the dealership didn't really do anything. They might have put 3 extra points on the loan. That way they could pay for the actual impound fees and actually getting the vehicle towed. So did the dealership actually do anything for the customer at all, period? I mean, I'm just questioning. I would love to see the numbers. But the customer was told that the documents for the actual Huracan was going to be sent to them the next day. Now, that promise came on April 10th, and here I am making this video, and ever since then, there's been crickets. I mean, there's been no calls, no nothing. No text, no paperwork, no nothing, no car being delivered in the driveway. Now we're about 2 weeks since the customer was originally approved for the Huracan. That was what, April 2nd? And it just seems very odd that this deal still has not been finalized over 2 weeks. I mean, is it very odd or is it not odd? Because what if I told you that someone called the dealership on April 12th asking if that same Huracan that they were going to promise this customer, if that Huracan was available and that they would pay them $315,000 cash. And if you guess that a dealership with all this scumbaggery up to this point would say yes and ready to do the actual paperwork on that car, you would be correct, because here go the receipt right here. That Huracan that was promised to him, negotiated, and supposedly approved to the customer to get financed for over 2 weeks, now is quietly being offered to someone else for basically $15,000 more to sweeten the deal. So I'm not understanding this. Was this whole 2 week stall tactic just a bait and switch so that they can see whether they can sell this car for more money, delaying the customer's deal, hoping they can flip it? I mean, the evidence basically just suggested that that was the case, that the dealership had no intentions of selling this car and that they still gonna do all the same scumbaggery that they're normally used to. And this is not happening in a vacuum. Lamborghini corporate is aware of the situation all the way up to the CEO's desk from what I hear. Hey, Mr. Winkleman, I mean, I heard you was aware of the situation, but did the dealership tell you that the customer doesn't have his money refunded back to him from this whole situation with the Urus, like all the money he put down for it, or he was never compensated for his lawyer fees that he's gonna have to do because now he has to have a lawyer represent him in Florida to prevent him from having a 60-day jail sentence for this nonsense from your dealership? I mean, he also hasn't seen the Urus since it was impounded from him back on what, March 7th? This OpenRoad Northwest dealership still tried to sell the customer that Huracan Spider to someone else behind his back. So they're claiming they're trying to work the deal out, but still trying to screw people over. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, this is not just bad customer service. It's like negligence. It's misrepresentation. It's easily fraud. I mean, especially when you consider the lies to chase, the false VIN submission claims to the DMV, the criminal liability that the actual customer is facing. Like I said, going to jail for 60-day fine. I mean, come on now. I mean, OpenRoad Northwest dealership can be found in social media clips doing stuff like this, showing employees going to customers' houses to get them to sign paperwork, especially this real estate developer right here that a lot of you guys probably know, that's pretty well known. But at the same time, this average customer, when he needed help, they were lied to, they were stalled, they was overcharged, and nearly railroaded into going to jail. So I want to ask you guys this question. If this can happen to a buyer who paid full price for a car, followed everything he was supposed to do, he reminded the dealership multiple times that, hey, you need to get this paperwork done. What's stopping another Lamborghini dealership from doing this to you? Because TK's Garage made a video about this situation, and either Lamborghini corporate or the dealership didn't like it and asked to take it down. And now it was respectfully taken down, but yet the game still continued with the customer. Now I wonder if I start digging to other Lamborghini deals, how many more times will I find people getting screwed over, asked to take down reviews or videos, and I find more dealership scumbaggery, as TK's Garage will call it. How many more times in different dealerships this same situation has happened? Luxury buyers deserve transparency, they deserve accountability, and it sure as hell deserve better than getting criminally charged for a dealership not doing their paperwork and not bothered to do their job. Last year, when I exposed a Dodge dealership for doing shady tactics, Dodge got involved, and their CEO made sure that regardless of the BS that dealership did and anything they were trying to pull, the customer had a car and the customer was taken care of. But because this is Lamborghini, I guess, if you get criminal charges, that's part of the option list when you buy a car. So I'm just saying, and this is why Lamborghini corporate needs to step in and take care of the situation, because it seems as though this dealership does not want to fix the situation at hand. It seems as though the dealership is trying to basically drag this along so that this current sale pending on the actual dealership group goes to the next ownership group, and then they get stuck with the bill. And I'm just saying that, hey, as far as I know, the owners have nothing to do with this, or the managing partner as well too. It's mainly the general manager at the dealership, because the general manager is the one who deals with the day-to-day operations. Saying, but we can basically call this what it is, right? It's basically a dealership trying to bury the situation that they themselves caused. They caused a client to catch a charge, lie about doing the paperwork, and try to make a few extra bucks reneging on the deal that they already offered multiple times. And in this process, the only thing this dealership did was basically bury their own reputation and that of Lamborghini. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Should Lamborghini corporate take care of the situation from here, especially since their dealerships got this customer in legal trouble? Dodge went above and beyond for the soldier and his Demon 170, but what would a revered Lamborghini do? And I guess we'll find out next in the next video that I make about the situation. And until the next time, I'm out.